Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode. Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby. If you need Evan, call me, but you don't have my number, so just slide in my DMs. Don't slide in my DMs, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to Tuesday. Who's gay? Could be any of us really at this point, okay? We don't know what the liberal agenda is, all right? But they want everybody to be gay. And I think there's just some kind of confusion. Because gay used to just mean happy. So somewhere along the lines, the signals got crossed. Now they're trying to make everybody gay. And that's okay. You know, maybe the world would be a better place for it. But not just like people being gay. I want the colors back. I want the rainbow. I want the glitter. I want the yas. I want the queen. I want the finger snap. I want the attitude. Let's go full bore with it, you know? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tuesday. Okay? If you haven't seen the podcast before, you're in for a treat. You are in for a treat. Welcome to 7 Minutes in Evan, where you can stream it on all the different platforms your heart desires. You got Spotify? Fucking do it. You got iTunes? Fucking do it. You got Amazon Music? You bougie like that? Fucking do it. Welcome. Okay? Welcome all the Amazon listeners. Okay? The number's been going up on Amazon for some reason. Jeff Bezos been liking what I've been throwing down. Fucking here for it. Ladies and gentlemen, rejoice. Something that just came down the pipeline. Just sent over by the studio. Elon Musk. His bid has been accepted by the board of Twitter, and it looks like Elon Musk is actually going to buy Twitter. This is a pretty monumental moment for the freedom of speech. Possibly. I mean, you sure hope so. It's huge. I really do think this is huge if this really happens. It could change completely. Like, and it's kind of crazy to say that Twitter is such an important thing in our civilization. But social media has grown so much past just being social media. It's become a utility. It literally has been, it's become a newspaper. It's become the way that governments reach their citizens. It's become a tool that has been weaponized, freedom of speech. It's become controlled, and there's been tons of little swamp monsters that have been out canceling people and just trying to control what other people can say because they're miserable little creatures are like going around in the darkness in the Dagobah system. Shout out to Yoda, though. I'm not talking about you, Yoda. But because it has become such a powerful tool, we needed something like this to happen where someone stepped in and was like, let's do this correctly. Let's try to do the right thing. And I think even just with Twitter alone, it's a step in the right direction. Is Twitter the most powerful tool? Not right now, but I think this is going to change things. We could literally see Twitter become the place that people go back to, where it's like, okay, yeah, but let's run it through Twitter. You know, when everybody, for a while, everybody was like, have you Snopes that? Where if something was unverified and you want to know if it was bullshit or not, you would go to Snopes. We'll put it in Snopes. Twitter could become that, where, you know, at least in the best case scenario of what it becomes, Twitter could become that. But be on the lookout. People are going to try to attack Twitter, okay? They're trying to take out the establishment, okay? And I think it's a scary thing, you know, because it makes news and the media be like, no, not everybody should be going to all these free open platforms to be getting their information. They need to be getting it to us because then they can control a narrative. And listen, I know by me saying that sounds like I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy theorist. Shout out to Mike Tyson beating the fuck out of that little asshole on that plane. Anyway. It sounds very conspiracy theorist to be saying this kind of shit, the media controlling the narrative. But it's like when you really have seen these past couple of years, it's kind of unavoidable to be like, oh yeah, the news is a piece of shit. We don't really actually get informed by it. It's a great quote by Denzel Washington where he says, if you watch the news, you're misinformed. If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. And he's like, what a predicament to be in. And then he goes on to say that people don't care about being right. When it comes to the media with these stories and everything, they care about being first. They want to have that first one out there. So they don't care about fact checking. So I think moving in the right direction, that media should be held accountable for false stories. There shouldn't necessarily be this blanket protection of media and journalists where it's like, oh yeah, no, we got more information later and we put, a little disclaimer on the bottom of it. But it's like you guys painted this picture because you knew it was clickbait and you wanted to be the first ones out with this story that got people riled up, and who knows what kind of action they took, based on some shit that you guys fueled. There was so much during the pandemic of whether it was like stirring up the fires of racial issues and just like dividing people that the media did just with these articles and the way that they would pose article titles when they would need, if something even wasn't racially driven, they would need to put a certain race and another one to be like, oh yeah, let's make this because this is hot right now. And I'm like, you guys are literally profiting off deteriorating the quality of a society. And it's like, it's terrible. So the whole point saying that is I think Elon Musk buying Twitter is a step in the right direction for getting free speech and holding people accountable for all of this, for creating fake narratives. Even if you look at like the whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard court going on right now, there are so many fake accounts on Twitter. There's so many bots that are pushing a narrative. And dude, narrative is the most conspiracy theorist sounding word. But it's been pushing. They found that something like, I think it was like 20% of the Twitter accounts commenting on the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard drama are fake accounts. Some crazy number, like 95% of them, are supporting Amber Heard. So there's this huge push from whatever media company, whatever it is who's creating this, are trying to paint a picture where Amber Heard's not as bad. And it could be for a couple reasons. It could be because it could be that, when they have those Russian bot farms or whatever, where they wanted to try to divide a country and try to make people just divided as much as possible. And you could do it by trolling and pushing the opposite narrative, like just being a contrarian and being like, oh yeah, everybody, it's so obvious that Johnny Depp was being manipulated and abused that let's go support Amber Heard because then it's going to cause more division and get people fired up. Or it's like an anti-smear campaign where there's actually companies that are trying to help boost Amber Heard's image. And fuck that bitch. You heard what I said. Listen, if you support Amber Heard in this whole Johnny Depp fiasco, you a toxic person. You a big red flag just hanging off a dumb pole. Okay? Listen, I even watched this movie last night. It was Sunday night. Fiance put it on and I said, fucking perfect. Pirates of the Caribbean. Such a nostalgic movie. I think the first Pirates of the Caribbean is a perfect time capsule. It's such a great film capturing a certain era. Okay, does it still hold up? I think so. It's a great entertaining movie, but the character of Jack Sparrow, I don't think could have been played by anybody else other than Johnny Depp. Legendary. And you know who I think doesn't get their due in that movie? And maybe they do, but it's just like, I realize it. Barbossa. The actor who plays Barbossa did such a phenomenal job as the anti-hero in that movie. He sold it so well. And it's like, it's so hard in those movies. Like, you have to be very good at that to suspend belief. Whenever you take a risk like that and you do a movie, and I say this with Lord of the Rings too, which is probably my favorite movie of all time. Is your boy currently reading The Fellowship of the Ring and watching the extended editions at the same time? Yeah, I am. Back the fuck up, okay? I remember where I was sitting in the movie theater when I first saw Lord of the Rings for the first time. Fucking popped my head off. Made my willy tingle like a spider sense was going off. Anyway, we're not talking about that right now. These movies like Pirates of the Caribbean, you have to suspend belief and be so good at that role to not stop you from going, okay, this is someone dressed up pretending to be a pirate. You have to commit 100% to that role. Barbossa. I would love to see you put a regular actor, you throw them in there, someone who's decent, and they go, arr. You're going to be like, okay, this is kind of corny. Like, it's a fine line between pulling off that role and being super corny. Because at the end of the day, you're walking around a ship with a monkey on your shoulder eating an apple, saying these arr, monsters dwell here, you know? Ah, very good, Jack. Ah, we named the monkey Jack. Anyway. So I think Barbossa doesn't get his shine for that movie. Even Orlando Bloom does phenomenal. What's the girl's name? Who she just like, her mouth is always like this. Fuck, I forgot her name. Elizabeth Warren. Whoever that actress is. Forget her goddamn name. Anyway, the whole point I'm making, this was a great movie, a time capsule. It spun so much in my mind of imagination and creativity and so much escapism, which I think is so important for young people and older people, just to get lost in something else. And I've always loved Pirates of the Caribbean. Every time I'd go to Disneyland, you do the ride and you sit there, and it's just such an amazing experience. That theme song, dun 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 dun, and then you hear about Johnny Depp, that he would dress up as Jack Sparrow, and he would go to like children's hospitals and go visit all these terminal kids and just do all these great things. And then you hear about his character as a person. Did he have a rough childhood? He grew up in Hollywood. You don't hear anything bad, though. You don't hear anything inappropriate. You don't hear these terrible things about who he is. And then you hear about this Amber Heard shit. Someone like Mr. Depp, who emotionally vulnerable, taken advantage of. People who you let someone in and they emotionally manipulate you. There's a few things like it sucks to see someone whose character was completely ruined, lost roles, the amount of stress that Mr. Depp has gone through dealing with this trifling woman. It just feels like an obligation as someone who enjoyed Pirates of the Caribbean so much and Johnny Depp in all his roles to be like, I support Johnny Depp. I stand with Johnny Depp, okay? This woman shat in his bed. Listen, you shit in my bed and you're not a dog? And you're not even a dog who tried to wake me up to go out to the... Listen, you're even a dog that shits in my bed. We're going to have some problems. Unless you're an infant and you're shitting in my bed and you weren't blackout drunk and you weren't Evan in college, huh? Who said that? I never actually have shit a bed. I just let the record show that, okay? Gonna be some problems. But how wild of a person do you have to be to squat on someone else's bed and to say, you know what, fuck this bitch, and to shit in a bed? That's next level petty. That's next level. Toxic. Whew. What do you do after? There's no coming back after that in any regards. This whole, they've been having this whole trial for this defamation case. I hope he gets every fucking dollar he wants. The first day, the first sentence of that court trial, your boy is standing there being like, yes, Your Honor, I represent myself. I would like to bring to the court and to the jury Exhibit A piece of shit that is in my bed from the defendant. I rest my case. And the judge just go, hit the gavel. It's over. We go film Pirates 4 or 5. See, that's a problem too, is when they start going too far with all these movies. They have too many. All right. This is the problem when you get in bed with Disney. Pirates 1, good. Pirates 2, good. Pirates 3, I liked it. It got a little odd, but I liked it. And then I think when they got into like 4, I don't know if there was a 5th one, it started getting odd. I'll give this one, I'll give Pirates of the Caribbean 3. 3 movies. That should have been it. What is it? At World's End? Was that the 3rd one? Yeah, but I know there's at least a 4th and a 5th one, I think. This is what Disney does all the time, where it's just a money grab. Oh, we got this much. We'll do this, and we'll just wash, rinse, and repeat. And they put out so many different movies that it's just all about numbers and cents, Look at how many weird Lion King movies they did. They just did so many cash grabs. There was other Frozen movies that came out. They always do these like smaller ones where we're going to cash grab off the name, but it's not going to be as big. Remember Lion King? What was it? 2.5? 1.5? Ridiculous. Remember Aladdin 2 and 3? That was such bullshit. Just put that thing out and move on. All right. But Johnny Depp, I'm rooting for you. I hope you get every dollar that you want from this. I hope, more importantly, because I know it's not about the money, I hope you get your dignity back. I hope you remember who the fuck you are. And that's Captain Jack Sparrow. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on. Other good news. To keep it in Pirates of the Caribbean, there'll be a change in the winds. Good things are happening in the world. I know we're all doom and gloom. Good things are happening in this world. A big one, CNN Plus, their streaming platform. They put it out there. They thought, we're the news. Everybody wants a piece of us. They're closing their news end of April. Such low viewership. People don't give a shit. And these huge media companies that have been controlling the narrative, there we go again with that word, for so long are going under. And I think it's great. I think it's huge. It's great for independence. What is the show with Sagar and Crystal Ball on YouTube? Breaking Points. Great, unbiased reporting on news. They were with The Hill, Uprising. I think it was The Hill for a while, and they were great. And they got pushed out by bigger media. And basically because they were unbiased, they couldn't work with these people and everything, and they got blackballed. They went on YouTube, podcast format, embraced the new world that we live in with online media. And if you have a following, you can survive and create. They're blowing the fuck up, and you're seeing these older dinosaurs just go away. And I think this is great. This is great in the sense of freedom of speech and information and misinformation. We talked about it in the beginning. All this shit with when you have media able to be sponsored by companies, you're going to get biased opinions simply by not wanting to ruffle feathers. Because when you look at all these big companies, there's bigger blanket companies that own all these bigger companies that own the smaller ones. So many of these pharmaceutical companies own companies that you're not even aware of, whether it's fast food, clothing stores, huge brands. They have investments with all these other companies. So when you start seeing that Pfizer and all these, big trigger word, Pfizer, own or are sponsoring all these different media outlets, why the fuck is this able to happen? How are we not going to get an unbiased opinion on this? Okay. It'd be like if my friend owns a Dick's Sporting Good and all of a sudden I'm like doing marketing and I'm like, he's sponsoring me. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't talk shit about ellipticals or this particular, workout equipment because this man, my friend who's sponsoring the show, sells that. So I can't talk shit about that. Okay, we can't. If there's anything negative that comes out, oh, there's a recall on all this equipment, but I know that they sell that there in their store. Like, I can't do that because maybe they won't want to sponsor us. And we need that income. It's pretty big, It's just like blatant corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't stand for it. Not anymore. Other big news that came out, ladies and gentlemen. We're just hitting you with the current events today. Netflix lost over 200,000 of its listeners, and viewers. Viewers is what I meant. 200,000 gone. Fairy dust. They don't exist anymore, except on HBO Max and Disney Plus and Showtime and Hulu and all these other streaming platforms that came up while Netflix got greedy. Okay? Netflix, did you not learn anything? Netflix, the star killer, the planet eater, thou'st that had taken down Blockbuster. I don't know. I know my demographic, it moves from, a couple different generations. But listen, back in the day, there was nothing like on a Friday night going to Blockbuster. Right down the street from Vince's Pasta and Pizza. We're going to grab a couple flicks and then we're going to pick up a pizza and head home, have the greatest night ever. Just that vibe of knowing you're going to get a pizza after this and you're walking into that Blockbuster. You can smell the carpet. You can see the movies on the wall. You would go up to you want to go to the new releases. Holy shit, Twister just came out. It's Friday night. You got to rush to the back where the new releases are. And you got to hope there's an empty container behind it. That was the whole trick. If you don't know, back in the day, you'd go there. You would have to go to where it said new releases on the wall. You would see the movie. You'd see fucking Twister. But not just that. You had to look behind the actual VHS to see if there was a plastic one, because it usually represented that they had it in stock. And then you would go, if sometimes you'd get there and you'd go to the front, like they wouldn't have it in the back. So you'd go to the front counter because maybe someone had dropped it off and they say, they'll go through their inventory and look and be like, oh no, we're supposed to get a couple back tonight, but they haven't brought them in yet. And then fucking this happened like a couple times where someone walks in and they're about to drop it through the box. And you go, there it is. There's that motherfucker. And then they go, oh, cool. And they'll take the Twister right there. Boom, right there. Whole weekend saved. It was the greatest vibe going to a Blockbuster on a Friday night. Just getting around and then you sit there with your family and you're fucking me dipping garlic bread into a fucking tub of blue cheese, just drowning it. Just waterboarding garlic bread with blue cheese. Just, where are they? Where are the launch codes? And then just eating it. That's how your boy got thick as a little kid, okay? Hashtag blue cheese. Diabetes dairy, that's what I call it. But I remember also you'd get the VHS. Sometimes some fuckface wouldn't be kind. Please rewind. Remember that? Someone wouldn't rewind it, so you'd have to fucking rewind the movie back. But then you also, if you didn't want to spoil it, you couldn't look at the TV screen while it rewound. Sometimes, you had just a TV that would rewind and you would see it while it was rewinding. But then you would have to press stop and then rewind so you couldn't see the screen and it would rewind faster. And then some people were such fucking ballers. They had a specific little VHS rewinder. Do you remember that? It was like a little slot and you'd press it up and down, it'd pop up, put your VHS in there, and it would be like, this shit rewinds 2.5% or 2.5 times faster than a television. And you'd be like, holy shit, what am I going to do with all this extra time on my hands? Crazy. Just struggles these kids don't know about. Okay? But that was how everybody got their movies. And then all of a sudden, fucking Netflix comes along and they're like, hey, you can just go to our website. We'll send you that shit in the mail. You just send it back when you're done. It was mind-boggling. I remember being like, what? We can just get a movie sent to us in the mail, a DVD, and then we fucking just send it back? And that was like kind of the beginning of the end for Blockbuster. And then they were like, hey, we don't even have to send you that shit. Go to our website and you can just watch it. And we were like, shut the fuck up, Netflix. What are you, a wizard? What are you, Harry Potter? And that was life. And Blockbuster didn't stand a chance. It didn't, okay? Because you know what people like more than just going to a Blockbuster and having a chance of maybe seeing a movie? Guaranteeing having that movie without having to go anywhere. Then you got pizza delivery. Boom. You're not wasting gas. That's so much easier. And you know what else can't happen if you're just streaming something? Please be kind. Rewind. You don't have to worry about that. Now you're fucking jacking off with your VHS rewinder because that's all you need it for. Huh? Who said that? And that all brings us to today. Netflix completely killed and dominated the streaming industry for so long. And I think what happens, this is what happens when you're a giant like Netflix and you don't keep innovating. You don't keep changing and growing and trying to figure out new strategies and ways to do things. It feels like it happened to Netflix where, for a long time they were king. They were king. We had Redbox come along. I still see people with Redbox where they're going up to the little thing. And then I'll still see people buying DVDs in the grocery store. You ever been in a grocery store and you're behind someone and you're just like, what the fuck? Like I'll go into Target and I'll see movies on the little stacks by the checkout. And I'm like, who's buying these fucking things? And then I'll see someone with 2 DVDs in their arms. I'm like, you don't have anyone that helps you with the internet? Like, what are you doing with the DVD? Okay, what are you, a time traveler? You're taking that back? What's that for? So we still have Redbox. Outside of Walgreens and CVS, I'll see them every now and then. Just shake my head. Like there's a fucking time capsule right there. But Netflix is starting to go down. They fucked up when they put that movie Cuties on there. Real odd. And I don't know if people actually, because I remember there was a whole delete your Netflix. And I remember I didn't participate in it. I remember seeing friends posting that they were deleting their Netflix. How many of you motherfuckers actually did that? I don't believe you. Because it probably was a little while and you're like, man, I kind of wish I could watch that show again. Man. And Netflix, it's an odd thing because I don't really... After Netflix lost The Office to Peacock, I was like, nah. It didn't really do it for me anymore. There's so many great options out there. How are you going to compete with HBO Max, Disney Plus? You got these conglomerates that just forked out and did their own thing. You're not the only show in town anymore. I think Netflix fucked up when it didn't adapt to live entertainment. I think that's where Netflix could really have taken another peg up above everybody else by having some kind of live streaming. Instead, they just said, we're going to ride this into the fucking ground. And not only that, to keep our profits good, we're going to keep raising the price on everyone. Slowly, just keep raising it. And they have this bullshit multiple screens and, oh, you want the HD or you want the SD or you want the 4K streaming? It's like, hey, buy me dinner before you fuck me like this. Because you're just, it's a money grab. You're pinching pennies. You're just like, oh, well, if you want this high def, just give everybody the high def. Give us a reason. And they keep raising their prices. And now they're even talking about that they're done sharing passwords. They're just not going to do it anymore. They're going to start getting more stringent where you can't share. And they're hoping that's going to make people buy it. But you're going to push everybody to HBO Max, Disney Plus. Shout out. I'm looking for sponsors, Disney. Okay. I know I said that shit about Pirates of the Caribbean being a money grab, but that was so long ago in this episode. Okay? You know, I was just talking shit. Come on, baby. Twinkle, twinkle. I'm trying to get some free Disneyland tickets, you know? Shit's like already like, I don't even know the last time I checked how much a Disneyland ticket costs. But I remember when that shit was like under $100. You go now, like with a family, you try to take a family to Disneyland for a family trip. You hope you're taking out a loan and open up a credit card. You're going to have to sell one of those kids at the end of it. You're just like, well, we're going to do this last trip and we're going to see who we like the most. But at the end of this, one of you kids are getting sold into labor. Okay? And if I was one of those little kids, I just wouldn't be active at anything. I'll just act like I was messed up. And I'm like, nah, they're not going to get a lot of money from me. That's what I'd be trying to sell. But Disneyland has gotten so expensive. And then they got to get you with the park hopper. Okay? It's just ridiculous. It's gotten way too much. But with all that said, Disneyland is still amazing. Disneyland might be one of the last places you can go. And while you're in Disneyland, it's not like anywhere else. Like when you're at Disneyland, you're not just like texting people like, hey, what are you up to? What's going on? It's not a regular day. You're like, I'm at fucking Disneyland right now. You're engulfed in the world of being at Disneyland. Does that make sense? Like you're also in the back of the head, you're like, this shit was fucking expensive. So I'm gonna, I'm not even gonna look at my phone. And you know what's crazy also? I've never really seen a fight at Disneyland where random groups of people got into a fight. Like, I feel like people are on their best behavior at Disneyland. Now, you go to Magic Mountain in Santa Clarita, you run into some fucking characters there. I'll tell you that much. A lot of people in wife beaters with Raiders hats on and just looking to start problems. Whenever you start giving out these you buy one ticket, you can be there for the whole fucking season. People are going there on Tuesday afternoon just to get free food. That was one of the things that I had one year. If you just went to the park, you could get free food. There were some booths where it's like you could just go there for lunch. And then you start to not appreciate it. You're like, yo, this shit, this is free food. I fucking own this place. And then someone's walking by you and you're like, hey, fool, what the fuck is up? And then you're fighting with hoodlums in Magic Mountain because you're just fucking bored because you're there for free. So with all that said, I understand why Disneyland keeps raising the price. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Shout out to Johnny Depp. We're all rooting for you, buddy. Amber Heard, stop shitting in people's beds. Stop shitting on Johnny Depp's life. And everybody else, no matter what, remember, I still love you.